The Big Apple connected with the world for 2 days as New York held their annual Social Good Summit to raise awareness of the issues affecting our society. Muhsin Mahbub wrote about the event for the Huffington Post. The global theme that the summit focused on was 2030 Now, a movement to address people about what we can do to live a long life by 2030 and beyond. Technology was a main factor in bringing this together and connecting us with others around the world to talk about issues like equality, poverty, education, and race. Celebrities spoke about their work in helping deal with the world's problems like gender equality, poverty, education, animal, wildlife, mental health, LGBT, and race, other issues that were talked about during the summit. For more information on this event, head to the Huffington Post Good News section and search for the article Social Good Summit Brings People from All Walks of Life for a Better Tomorrow. For Totally Positive News, I'm Tom Averna. Empower Positive Radio presents Totally Positive News. This program features news and stories to encourage, inspire, and motivate, and is a collaboration of several voices joining together to spotlight the positive world we live in and the inspiring people who share this world with us. People just like you, who choose to focus on and manifest courage, optimism, and positivity. At Totally Positive News, give us 30 minutes and we'll give you a positive world.
From GoodNewsNetwork.org, we learn of a 22-year-old man in Britain who was given a $10,000 reward for stopping a cyber attack on a multitude of businesses. The young man, who does not use his real name, goes by the pseudonym Malware Tech. He was able to shut down a malicious program by accidentally finding what is called a kill switch found within the program. The cyber attack was reported in over 100 countries, affecting corporate giants such as FedEx, Telefónica, Nissan, National Health Organization, and others. The ransomware, known as WannaCry, encrypts files and then holds them for ransom for several $100s. If not paid by Bitcoin by a deadline, all the data and files stored are deleted. The man known as Malware Tech found an unregistered domain name hidden within the code of the ransomware. He decided to try to register the domain. When he did, the cyber attacks all ceased. So why is this young man's story on Totally Positive News? Because Malware Tech has announced that he's giving the entire $10,000 reward to charity and to education. He says, and I quote, "By education, I mean I plan to purchase information security-based books to give to students who cannot afford them themselves," end quote. But there's more to this story. While he is donating the money, sources leaked that Malware Tech loves pizza. A UK-based food delivery service called Just Eat is offering him free pizza for a year. He says that he is prone toward accepting that offer. I'm Vernon Howell for Totally Positive News.
Kay Wistrand is a language arts teacher at Tomball Junior High School in Tomball, Texas. Doctors recently found an uncommon tumor in her spine. She was telling her class that she had been given 2 to 3 years to live, and her students were heartbroken. She also shared with them that she had always dreamed of going to California to see the redwoods and to dip her toes into the Pacific Ocean. Since she had touched the lives of so many students, they wanted to make sure that she would be able to complete every last thing on her bucket list before the cancer would claim her future. So 4 of her students decided to fund her bucket list journey to California and started a GoFundMe campaign with a $7,500 goal. Since it was created in February, the page has raised $10,000. Mickey Nolan is the creator of the GoFundMe page and says, "Kay Wistrand is one of the best people I have ever had the opportunity to meet. She is an amazing English language arts teacher, and she is one of the best teachers I've ever had. Mrs. Wistrand has loved all her students so much for so many years. We just want to return the favor for all of the hard work she has put in to teach the youth of our community." Kay is so touched by the gesture. She announced her retirement upon realizing that she could finally journey journey to California, and all her students have since wished her bon voyage. You can follow Wistrand's journey through her new Instagram page, www.instagram.com/WistrandBucketList. The quote on her Instagram page says, "Together we can Wistrand anything." Amen to that. We wish you blessings on your journey, Kay, and thank you to the students for helping her achieve her dreams. This is Deb Frisch reporting for Totally Positive News.
This is Malayna Dawn, your News Muse.
Malayna Dawn, your News Muse.
Inspiring you with the oneness worldview. Have you ever watched a soap opera or even a long-running TV series? There's a plot device that I like to call the switcheroo, where the person who is seen as the bad character becomes good, or the good character becomes bad. It's always a good reminder of a few life lessons, like things aren't always what they seem. Our understanding of a situation can change or grow over time, or situations themselves change. Some things that seem heroic in one context might not seem so heroic in another. In fact, it might seem diabolical. And not everything fits nicely into a story. There is a lot that goes on behind the scenes of any situation. So when we identify villains in our lives, we can use them as mirrors, even if they're not very flattering ones, and ask ourselves, when am I like that? Their behavior, put in the context of our own lives, can bring up areas where we might be just as stubborn, just as shut off, just as biased, or just as driven. And of course, we know our reasons for these feelings and actions, where it might not be as easy to identify in others. There are situations that we call bad, which do serve a positive purpose. Forest fires, for example. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection provides a fact sheet on the benefits of fire. Fire is a powerful tool, and it could be friend or foe. As long as it's not out of control, fire cleans the forest floor of debris and opens it up to sunlight and nourishes the soil. So that's good. Fire kills diseases and insects that prey on trees. More trees die each year from insect infestation and disease than from fire. There are some types of trees and plants that are actually fire dependent. Some trees have fire-resistant bark and cones that require heat to open and release seeds for regeneration. Fire is like change. Sometimes it's time for change, and sometimes it hurts, sometimes both. So what do we do? Maya Angelou is quoted as saying, "Do the best you can until you know better. When you know better, do better." We're all doing the best we can with the information we have. When we know better, we'll do better. So all we can do is try to learn and expand our understanding as we go. See past the stories and the judgments of good and bad, and look for the full picture, the greater understanding. And then maybe we'll know exactly what's right to do. This has been Malayna Dawn, your News Muse, inspiring you with a oneness worldview.
Malayna Dawn.
Time now for a moment of positive to lighten your way and brighten your day.
Never give up, for that is just the place and time that the tide will turn. Harriet Beecher Stowe.
You're listening to
Empower.
Positive Radio.
The most positive station in the world.
From the America's Better Than This news desk, here's an article by Blair Taylor on how we can heal our communities through youth involvement. According to Taylor, Baton Rouge, St. Paul, and Dallas are only the latest in a long list of cities struck by tragedy. Much of this is amplified by social media, but the problem is real. Taylor said, quote, "While many are focused on understanding how we got here, it's equally important to focus on a constructive path forward. I don't believe I have the solution to reconcile the anger, the loss, the injustices, and the bias, but I do believe that offering boys and young men of color the safety, respect, and life opportunities they deserve can reverse some of the challenges they disproportionately experience," unquote. This group they labeled Opportunity Youth, who are mostly comprised of those in communities of color, whether African American, Hispanic, or Asian. Blair pointed out, quote, "The extent of the risk if we don't find a solution for our Opportunity Youth equals the magnitude of opportunity. Boys and men of color face joblessness rates higher than anything we've ever seen since the Great Depression," unquote. It's the private sector that offers the best chance of helping these youth, working closely with local government, nonprofits, and community groups providing a life-changing event by employing and training these young people. A summit to discuss this is to be held in Oakland, California, coming up Thursday, July 21st, with many major corporations participating. You can find out more in the Good News section of the Huffington Post under the title of Healing Our Communities Through Addressing Opportunity Youth. For Totally Positive News, I'm Tom Averna reporting.
One day, Rodney Smith saw an elderly man in his neighborhood struggling to cut his grass. That gave him the idea that he should help this man cut his lawn. But it didn't stop there. He decided, since he was young and capable, he has the responsibility to step up and help take care of his community. Rodney says most people don't really enjoy mowing their lawn, so he has made it his calling. He now mows lawns that are owned by elderly or disabled homeowners, single moms, and military personnel, and he mows them all for free. After mowing over 100 lawns in his region, Rodney started the Raising Men Lawn Care Service. For every 10 lawns that are mowed by participating young men, they earn a different colored t-shirt. They start with white, orange, green, blue, and the final, after the 50th lawn, is black, just like the karate belt system. Some of the boys aren't quite sure about this and are a little slow to start. But after they have mowed a few lawns, they end up calling Rodney to ask, "Hey, when can we mow some more lawns?" This summer, he is cutting 50 lawns in 50 states in order to inspire others to do the same. He just wants to be an example and have these boys follow in his footsteps. Rodney is currently on his 22nd stop in Elgin, Illinois, and his 50-yard challenge has already been accepted by several other volunteers. Rodney is originally from the island of Bermuda, and he says that his dad spent his life building houses. He said it is his dad's love for helping people that rubbed off on him. He has just graduated from Alabama A&M University. Once he finishes with his lawn care road trip, he plans on going back to school to get his master's degree in social work. Way to go, Rodney, on performing such a selfless act by helping others without expecting anything in return. Although we all know that Rodney will be getting back in many other ways, more than he could ever imagine. You can find this story on thegoodnewsnetwork.org by searching 50 Lawns in 50 States. This is Deb Frisch reporting for Totally Positive News.
The Duval County, Florida courthouse is the scene of an unusual yoga class on the first Friday of every month. That's when Judge Eleni Dirk offers a free yoga class on the courthouse lawn. She is a certified yoga instructor, and she is also the chairperson of the health committee for the Jacksonville, Florida Bar Association. You'll find photos of the judge conducting the outdoor yoga class and also inside conducting her judge duties in court at positivenewsus.org. Just click on the story titled, "On Duval County Courthouse Lawn, Yoga Instructor is the Judge." Judge Dirk conducts her monthly yoga class on the lawn until the Florida weather just gets too hot. Dirk says of her reason for going outside, quote, "We want to get out since we are stuck inside all day," end quote. She also says that she finds it helpful for herself as a great stress reliever. The judge wears yoga clothes under her black robes, thus making it easy for her to transition when she heads for her open-air yoga studio. The class is open to anyone wishing to achieve a few moments of peace and relaxation. But of course, most of the participants are in the legal profession. Though some are skeptical at first, Dirk observes, quote, "It's kind of hard to convince people to do it, and that it's good for you," end quote. Some tease her about her desire to relieve people's stress. Bailiff Jason Archer said during lengthy trials, she'll sometimes tell jurors to stand up in the jury box and stretch and take some deep breaths. He laughs and says she is the boss and they have to do what she tells them. Dirk chimes in, quote, "It's for their own good, poor guys. Did you ever sit in one of those chairs? It's so uncomfortable," end quote. Dirk took up yoga after she was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. She says that yoga changed her life, and her disease is now in remission. When Judge Dirk was 12, her family traveled from their home in Cyprus to the United States to be with her sister as she became a student at Ohio State University. They never made it back to Cyprus. While they were here, Turkey invaded their homeland, so they stayed in the U.S. with 2 suitcases for 4 people, and one of those suitcases was lost. But they rebuilt their lives, and Eleni Dirk was elected judge in 1994. Now she leaves the courtroom in recess and goes to her car to get extra mats, just in case they're needed. As she walks to her outdoor class, she announces, quote, "We're going to do a kick-butt yoga class today," end quote. This is Vernon Howell for Totally Positive News.
Mahatma Gandhi said, "Man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If I keep on saying to myself that I cannot do a certain thing, it is possible that I may end up by really becoming incapable of doing it. On the contrary, if I have the belief that I can do it, I shall surely acquire the capacity to do it, even if I may not have had it at the beginning." So make sure all your I am statements are positive, because, you truly are amazing.
Malayna Dawn, your news muse.
Inspiring you with the oneness worldview. Nature is a rich source for learning about life and about ourselves. I've been noticing the way that we experience reality on different levels simultaneously, and how we do that biologically as well as psychologically and culturally. We know that our cells are at work, keeping our bodies running while we're busy thinking about other things. The cellular level of reality is as real and true as anything else we experience. And it's important too, but it's not the whole picture. It's only a microcosmic part of what we're immersed in every moment. Levels of spirit, mind, body, community, environment, nation, planet, universe. Trees offer an interesting example. They support our biology by cleaning our air and water for us. They support wildlife, provide food, shade, building materials, but that's not even all they do for us. Psychologically, trees can tell us that an area is healthy, established, affluent, and peaceful. In an article from ecobusiness.com called Lee Kuan Yew, the man who guided Singapore from slum to eco-city, it says he uplifted the once polluted port to a place that the world would want to do big business by starting with a focus on the importance of the environment. Cleaning it up by finding housing for the homeless, providing proper sewage systems, clean water, and then by planting trees. In a speech in 1968, he said, "No other hallmark of success will be more distinctive than that of achieving our position as the cleanest and greenest city in South Asia." It is, and now it's one of the most prosperous countries in the world. In urban environments, trees benefit people economically by keeping air conditioning bills lower, but they also offer comfort. Trees capture, store, and clean water and then ensure that water finds its way back into the ground. Trees also help filter and clean the air of carbon emissions and pollutants, which means fewer respiratory issues. They reduce our stress, which means reduced heart issues, and studies seem to indicate that pregnant mothers who live in greener areas have healthier babies. Culturally, our natural response to trees means that it improves business and decreases crime. In short, trees help us behave like part of an ecosystem, a community. For more information, visit my source, kcet.org/tree canopies. And thanks for listening. This has been Malayna Dawn, your news muse, inspiring you with a oneness worldview.
Hi, this is Faith Rivera, and you're listening to Empower Positive Radio, where every day is the best day yet.
This is the best day yet.
I love these artistic shows.
25.
We can reach out. We can reach out.
Hey, everybody, this is Rick Cowling.
Oh, yeah, and this is Sherry Hursey Cowling, and we believe...
We can do anything we put our minds.
And you must agree with us.
Because you're listening to
Sharing the Dream with Rick
and Sherry. And that was cute.
It's true.
Woohoo!
We can share the dream.
Hey, thanks for joining us here on Empower Positive Radio.
On our segment of Totally Positive News, we'll be sharing the dream
of many wonderful visionaries.
and fabulous folks working to make our world a better place.
From individuals and organizations to artists and local heroes.
We'll get a dose of optimism and inspiration from the most positive peeps on the planet.
And we have some amazing guests to share their valuable insights on how to live a healthier,
Happier and more heavenly life.
so we can all
Share the dream. We have two very special guests on Sharing the Dream today.
Yeah, Linda Wehrlii, the founder of Pastimes For A Lifetime, had been teaching art and piano for over 10 years at her cottage studio.
Right here in the San Fernando Valley near us.
Yeah, when she got a call from Coach Art.
Coach Art is an organization that pairs chronically ill children with volunteer sports and arts instructors to help boost their spirits when they're going through tough times and raise their self-esteem.
That's cool. Well, we went to visit Linda, and we were joined by Emily Coldiron of Coach Art to hear more about the wonderful work they're doing for their community.
Hi, I'm Linda Wehrlii.
Hey, Linda. I want you to tell us a little bit about how you came up with the name.
It's a funny story. I was talking with the sales rep over at LA Parent, and I described my visit to her, and she said, wow, art and music, it sounds like pastimes a person can enjoy for a lifetime. And I said, what did you just say?
Oh, wow.
And that was the impetus for that. So,
Wow, Pastimes for a Lifetime. I love that.
Thank you.
Kind of needs to be the title of a song, I think.
there you go. There is a famous quote from Robert Heinlein that says, when one person teaches, to learn. And I think that's what I get a lot out of my teaching, is that as I learn a lot from my students.
And what exactly do you teach? Tell us.
Fine art and piano.
Oh, my goodness. And we're right here in their studio today, recording this live. I'm sure Rick loves it because he's...
I want to start playing the piano right now.
Very good.
I'll wait till after the interview, though.
And we also have Emily from Coach Art. How did you connect?
Yes. Back in 2002, the original owner, Leah Bernthal, she contacted me and said, this is an organization we're just starting, and we're reaching out to teachers in the community who want to donate classes at no charge to our guests, our members, who either the child itself or its siblings are undergoing some serious medical issues. And usually it's the siblings that get pushed aside. And so I said, definitely, I'm on board. And so many wonderful students have come through the studio, regardless of their chemo or their medical, they make it to their class. And they've been in art shows, and it's very empowering.
Absolutely.
And it's very, very healing.
So, hi, Emily.
Hi.
Tell us what you do a little bit about Coach Art.
So I'm a program manager at Coach Art, and yeah, basically what Linda was saying, we connect students with chronic illnesses and their siblings with arts and athletics opportunities. So we do our own sports clubs, and we also offer program partner scholarships from really awesome community partners like Linda's Pastimes For A Lifetime, also a couple music conservatories and things like that. And then we also have in-home lesson opportunities where we match a volunteer one-on-one with the child, and they learn a certain skill, anything in the arts and athletics. It could be cooking, baking, writing, drawing, painting, whatever. So we have a lot of opportunities.
And what do you love most about what you see happens offering these programs?
I think it's definitely a transformational experience for a lot of the kids, just because, they get the opportunity to learn something new, and it's regardless of what they're going through, if they're a patient or if they're a sibling, they get to experience something new and also make a connection with the instructors and kind of carry that through any illness, anything that they're facing.
You know what's really bizarre about that is that I had my 6-month checkup today to make sure that I'm all clear, since most of our audience know I had a journey of breast cancer 2 years ago. And I was saying to Rick, they asked me to come in and do an interview for the doctor's office because it's an amazing office, and they have a nonprofit attached that works with women who need help with Valley Breast Care. And it took my mind off of the testing and the results and all that kind of stuff because I was focused on something I love doing and doing something special for other people. And in a way, it reminds me of what you're offering, what you're doing, focusing on something beautiful and creative and artistic. What do you see with that, Linda?
Well, it's very healing, and it's also very good karma because my mother survived breast cancer twice, so it's my opportunity to keep it flowing and paying it forward.
Awesome.
I thought you said paint it forward.
Well, that would
Maybe.
work too.
I love that.
That is really good.
I may have to borrow that.
I think that's a new catchphrase for her. And how did you two connect?
You know, I think I was pretty new at Coach Art. I started about 2 years ago. And I think I reached out a couple times just to, because I know different transitions and things like that, you can lose your contact person, but when we reconnected, I was like, oh, I really want some art opportunities for our kids out in the valley. So I was just like, if there's anything, let me know. And Linda was great about just immediately, cluing us in on what she could do, what she could offer. And I started sending over our kids, and it's been really good.
Linda could teach everybody how to communicate better like that. She's really good at it. I admire her for that.
I do too.
Thank you so much.
So I want to know individually what inspired each of you to follow the path that you're on. Is there anything in your life that transpired that inspired you to do this?
I've always loved volunteer work, and I think that's what inspired me to go into nonprofit work. Obviously, I think mentorship's super important. I had people in my life who have helped me enormously get to where I am, and especially in the arts and athletics. I was a studio art minor too in college, so I love art, and I agree with what we were saying earlier. It's a healing process, and so everything that Coach Art stands for, it's something that I saw in myself, and I think all of those things kind of melt together into what I do now.
That's awesome. Nice. What about you, Linda?
Well, I grew up in a family that played music. So my grandmother was a concert pianist from Germany. My dad, they all escaped the Nazis. So
wow.
They came here, and the music was what kept them from going crazy, going from one culture to a completely different culture. And Grandma was able to teach, and the two boys grew up playing piano. My dad plays the cello. The cello is right there. He's still around, but he doesn't want to play anymore. He's going to be 90. He says he's old enough. He doesn't have to practice.
Oh, he's 90.
Yeah. And I always grew up playing the piano, and I loved my teachers. I was very lucky. I wasn't one of those kids that never practiced. They had to get me off the piano.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so now I play with a passion. I have a trio with a flutist and a cellist. We're going to be playing a gig at the end of the student concert. So we always do a real big show once a year. We just had a rehearsal. We have kids that get up there that can't speak in front of anyone, but they can play.
Right.
And as far as the arts, that's a great medium for someone who maybe can't express themselves any other way.
Absolutely.
And it's a really good, robust program. There's curriculum. So they actually start and follow a curriculum, and they get a certificate of completion, which is a real deal. And I just am now hearing back from students 20 years later who are now professional architects, who are teachers and are artists. So it's really cool.
Wow. I love that. I love what you said about people who might even be too shy to speak, but they can play an instrument. I think it's really important to make that statement that arts education can affect every line of work and everything in a person's life and their success in general. And that's what you're saying about some of the students you have don't even go into art as a career.
Yeah, it's made a big impact, and it's developed their personality. It's given them that venue so that they can then express themselves and be successful.
I love it. I think it's perfect, being a musician myself.
And what we're hoping that our listeners will feel from this is inspired to serve the community in a way of their own, like the two of you. Thank you so much, ladies.
I wanted to say one more thing, too. The art that they're left with, the pieces of art that they create during this time is always an amazing reminder for them to have throughout their lives of a great journey that they've been through, I bet.
It's absolutely perfectly stated.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks, Rick.
I came up with something.
You're awesome. These guys are awesome, too.
You guys are awesome.
We'll check back in with you.
Thanks for listening to Empower Positive Radio.
Yes!
Awesome.
We can reach out.
You've been listening to Totally Positive News, a production of Turning on the Light Entertainment with Sharing the Dream hosts Sherry Hursey and Rick Cowling. Also featuring the News Muse, Malayna Dawn, and reporters Deb Frisch, Vernon Howell, and me, Tom Averna. And thanks to our engineer, Dan Cato Wilson. If you have a story idea or would like to report on something or someone positive in your area, we want to hear from you. Go to our website at TOtLEPositiveNews.com. That's TOtLE Positivenews.com to find out more. Be sure and tune in again next time for Totally Positive News.